sometimes when you add a fish to an aquarium, you do it with your fingers crossed because you're sure that there's probably going to be a little bit of a battle, a little bit of a territorial dispute right when you add him, where other fish are going to assert themselves. And so you watch it closely and hope that you have a good outcome. Recently, I added some fish to the 55-gallon planted community that I was a bit worried about. Let me tell you what happened. It's pretty common with African cichlids that when you add a new fish, they're going to get a little bit of a welcome to the neighborhood, a greeting from all the other fish who are going to assert their position in the pecking order. In this aquarium, I was very worried when I added this Fusco to live together with a Venusus. They're both part of the same family, and sometimes they can get into it with each other in some situations. In this tank, fortunately, they did get along. And I'm going to share with you why I think that was the case, not just in this tank, but in other tanks that I have, that I'm able to get aggressive fish who normally couldn't live together to live together. Same thing with the Spectabilis. It's a Buccochromis spectabilis, beautiful fish, part of the Buccochromis family. And sometimes when you put a couple of Buccochromis in the same tank, like here's this big Rhodesii yellow. There's one of the more aggressive fish in this aquarium. And there's also a Buccochromis notitania, who has put on some good size and is also becoming a bit more aggressive. So you put those fish in, you cross your fingers, but you make sure that certain safeguards are in place that'll give you a better chance of the fish surviving. And I'll share with you what those are. In the case of my 55-gallon planted, I already had a centerpiece fish in here, and that's this Epistogramma right here. It's a cockatoo, bright orange Epistogramma, beautiful fish. And it was a little bit like an episode of Highlander, where there can only be one, when I added that double red that you see right there. This little cockatoo was not having it. He was like, hey, I'm the centerpiece fish in this aquarium. You don't belong here. And he immediately started to flare up and attack this guy and go after him. Fortunately, it has settled down. I think they've established that he is in charge. But in the meantime, to avoid the beatings, there had to be a place where this guy with a double red could hide. And so I think what saved his life and made the transition a little bit smoother was that I have this cave right here. There's a little cave, and he actually took up residence in that cave and would be able to take breaks and get away from this asserted tank boss centerpiece fish. And now it seems to have settled out to where they both kind of roam around the aquarium without really a lot of concern for each other. Beautiful Epistogrammas. And I think the fact that there are a lot of hiding spots, a lot of thick plants, a lot of things that break up the line of sight. You'll also notice that there's the cardinal tetras that were added. They immediately went over to the neons and created this big group of neon colored fish, which I think looks beautiful in here. They're schooling, just like the rummy nose. Love the way they school. So the fact that there was a cave that he could retreat to, and a lot of plants that break the line of sight, I think that's what saved his bacon and has him still alive today. I was almost at a point where, uh-oh, am I going to lose that guy? Do I have to pull him out? But it actually turned out okay. This guy calmed down. There's also some celestial danios. They're pretty small, hard to see, but they were added. There's a couple in there. And again, I think they're gonna have a better chance because I've got this hornwort up here where they can kind of hang out. I've noticed they like hanging out near the top where you get fish like the rasboras. They kind of hang around the middle. And then interestingly enough, you get the neons and rummy nose that are more in the bottom third of the aquarium. And I believe some of the same reasons I've been able to add fish that normally would go at it with each other in this 300 gallon. I think the reasoning is the same. The reason is the same. You've got these large artificial plants that allow fish to take a break. They just kind of go into them or go behind them. And so you have a place for a fish to retreat. And in the case of this 7-foot tank, I mean, there's a lot of real estate, so they can be in very separate sections of the tank and be off each other's radar. But I think having places where a fish can retreat, where they can go out of the line of sight, makes a very big difference. There are other theories that people have, like having a lot of water movement. This tank has a tremendous amount of water movement, has a very powerful wave maker, a lot of water movement at the top of the aquarium with 2 very strong pumps coming up from the sump, as well as an output from an FX7, or an FX6 rather. And I think that maybe those things contribute. And I think if I had to add one more point to it all, I think it would have to be providing good quality nutrition. Because a hungry fish, right? A hangry fish, just like when you're hungry, you're going to be in a little bit of a bad mood. And so when these fish are well fed, and that doesn't mean stuffed with a bunch of crappy food that has very poor nutrients, but when their bellies are full with good quality food and they're getting good nutrition, they're going to be in a better mood and less likely to be on the hunt and in the mood for killing something. So good quality food, and of course good water parameters, things that actually keep them relatively calm and healthy and not under stress. And I think that's important for any kind of fish, whether it's community fish or discus or any kind of fish that you're keeping. Providing them with good quality nutrition, good water parameters, all of that just makes a huge difference in their level of antagonism. So there you go. Wish me luck on those 2 apistogrammas. I hope they keep getting along. Seems to be fine now, and I'm really happy with how both of them are looking and how the overall situation is evolving. So there you go. I think I've got my centerpiece fish. The only other fish I'd want to add to that 55 gallon or hope to see in the future are the empire gudgeons actually showing some color. And that would be another great addition to that 55 gallon. But for right now, I really like those 2 apistogrammas in there, together with that group of cardinal tetras that have joined the neons and all the other fish in there. I think it's coming around and being a great planted aquarium. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it, and I will see you at the next one. Bye-bye.